Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Something rather magical has happened to Harrison. 1923's Helen Mirren says Harrison Ford's acting has changed in the last few years, and she thinks she knows why. Helen Mirren opens up about her 1923 co-star Harrison Ford, as she explains how an exchange that she had with the celebrated actor showed how he has changed his attitude and approach to acting in recent years. A prequel set long before the events of Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone series, the Paramount Plus spin-off depicts the Dutton family facing the challenges of a rapidly changing America following the First World War and throughout the 1920s. As 1923 Season 2 approaches in February, Mirren and Ford are set to reprise their roles of Kara and Jacob Dutton, the family's then leaders. As the Wall Street Journal sat down with Ford ahead of his return in 1923 and MCU debut in Captain America: Brave New World, Mirren shares how she has felt working alongside the actor on the Paramount Plus series. While Mirren states that working with Ford on their first project together in 1983's The Mosquito Coast left her with the impression that Ford was withdrawn and reluctant to be the huge star that he found himself becoming, she noticed with their reunion in 1923 that he has become much more open and vulnerable. Mirren then opens up about an exchange during the filming of a bloody scene in 1923 where Ford alluded to him looking like how he did after his 2015 near-fatal plane crash, suggesting to her that the incident shifted his perspective. Check out Mirren's explanation below. While the 2015 incident isn't the only plane crash that Ford has experienced as a pilot, the actor has previously discussed how that particular event has weighed on him. After his vintage aircraft suffered engine failure, Ford was forced to make an emergency landing on a golf course, with Ford being left hospitalized with a large laceration and several broken bones for almost a month. While he has returned to flying, Ford stated he hopes never to go through an experience like it again, and recognizing that it was a difficult period for his family. Furthermore, upon receiving the scripts for 1923, Ford stated that he immediately felt many similarities with Jacob due to how their experiences carried some parallels, including the scene Mirren had described, which he could emotionally relate to what he and wife, Callista Flockhart, went through following the 2015 incident. Though Ford may have returned to flying and enjoyed many more roles since, it is evident that his experience has added new weight to how he views certain roles, perhaps giving him a unique perspective. Mirren isn't the only person to have noticed an apparent change in Ford's career across his recent roles. While it may have been a role that propelled him into widespread acclaim, Ford has admitted he didn't want to be limited to being recognized as Star Wars' Han Solo, and wished for a different fate in Return of the Jedi. Nevertheless, the actor returned to the role in 2015 and 2019's The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, adding a new layer to the character with an enthusiastic portrayal. While it didn't meet expectations at the box office, Ford's return in Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny offered a fitting farewell to the character, one which Ford had been eager to fulfill. While Ford's enthusiasm with these cases may be partly due to the actor finally being able to leave these characters with the ending they deserve, Mirren's 1923 observations could hint that Ford's new perspective gave him more insight into approaching them. Something rather magical has happened to Harrison Ford. At least, that's what Helen Mirren believes. The esteemed actress, who shared the screen with Ford in the hit series * 1923 *, has noticed a subtle but profound shift in his acting over the last few years. And according to her, there's a reason for it. Harrison has always been an incredible actor, Mirren says with her signature elegance. But lately, there's something different about him. A depth, a warmth, an openness that perhaps wasn't as pronounced before. It's like watching a great artist move into their final, most profound period of work. It's rather magical. One might wonder, How does an already legendary actor, a man who has defined multiple generations of cinema, change at this stage in his career? The world knows Harrison Ford as Han Solo, Indiana Jones, Rick Deckard, icons of grit, charm, and unrelenting determination. But in * 1923 *, he delivers a performance filled with a rugged tenderness, a nuanced vulnerability that seems to have emerged only in the past few years. Mirren, who has worked with Ford in 2 separate decades, believes the key lies in a shift not just in his craft, but in his very essence. There's a sense of reflection in him now, she muses. He's always been a private person, but there's an openness that wasn't there before. He's letting us see more of Harrison, not just the characters he plays, but the man himself. Some point to his age. After all, Ford is in his 80s now. But aging alone doesn't create the kind of transformation Mirren describes. Plenty of actors remain technically proficient as they grow older, yet few seem to evolve so profoundly. Mirren suspects it's about something deeper, an appreciation of time, of experience, of legacy. He's always been the type of actor who immerses himself in his roles, Mirren explains. But now, I feel like he's embracing them in a different way. There's a quiet confidence in his performances, a kind of wisdom that comes from truly knowing oneself. It's not just Mirren who has noticed. Fans and critics alike have pointed out that Ford's recent performances in projects like * 1923 * and * shrinking * have a newfound emotional weight. In * shrinking *, he plays Dr. Paul Rhodes, a grumpy but deeply caring therapist who is struggling with his own health battles. The performance has been lauded as one of Ford's best, funny, poignant, and disarmingly honest. So what's changed? Mirren has a theory. I think he's simply more at peace with himself, she says with a knowing smile. Harrison has always been a bit of an enigma, tough on the outside, but with a sly sense of humor and a deep intelligence. Now, I feel like he's allowing those softer layers to come forward more openly. Maybe it's life experience, maybe it's the kind of roles he's choosing, or maybe he's just at a point where he doesn't feel the need to prove anything anymore. It's an interesting perspective, and one that aligns with what Ford himself has hinted at in interviews. In recent years, he's spoken about embracing the passage of time rather than fighting it. I've gotten to a point where I just enjoy the work more, he admitted in a recent interview. I don't worry so much about the outcome anymore, I just focus on the doing. And maybe that comes across in what people see. Mirren believes this newfound sense of artistic freedom has allowed Ford to explore his craft in ways he never has before. There's something quite beautiful about watching someone who has already achieved so much continue to evolve, she says. You'd think he would have nothing left to learn, but that's the thing about great artists, they never stop growing. Of course, Ford being Ford, he's not one to wax poetic about his own journey. Ask him about his so-called transformation, and he'll likely shrug and say something self-deprecating. But those who have worked with him see it clearly. There's a richness in his performances now, a willingness to be more raw, more exposed. Some might say it's the benefit of time, of having lived a full life with all its ups and downs, and bringing that truth to the screen. Others might attribute it to his personal happiness, including his long and seemingly blissful marriage to actress Callista Flockhart. Whatever the reason, one thing is certain: something magical has indeed happened to Harrison Ford. And if Helen Mirren is right, then audiences are in for some of the most profound performances of his career. Perhaps, after decades of playing larger-than-life heroes, Ford has finally found the most compelling role of all, himself.